Hello to all you movie barfs and welcome back to the channel. Captain America the Winter Soldier is the sequel to Captain America the First Avenger and focuses on the continued struggle of the 100-year-old virgin from another time, Steve Rogers. It's loosely based on a comic book by Ed Brubaker and is regarded as one of the best movies to come out of the MCU. Captain America the Winter Soldier is fresh, exciting, and features a darker, moodier script, which wasn't too common in MCU films. Anthony and Joe Russo served as the directors of the film, who went on to play a monumental role in future Marvel hits. They cemented themselves as credible directors with Winter Soldier. The film has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 90 from the critics and 92 from the audience, showing a pretty favorable consensus. So what did the Winter Soldier get right to be regarded with such feedback? Well, there are a couple of factors, but we'll have to deep dive into spoiler territory, so you have been warned. Number 1. Captain America is a badass now. Look, let's face it, before this, Captain America wasn't really a cool hero. Sure, he was a World War II veteran and all, but in the first Avengers film, he was made out to be more of a joke. Just look at the scene in which they try to fix the helicarrier. He was clearly more of a liability than an asset. Cap is completely dumbfounded by modern-day electronics, and is easily overcome by a couple of soldier grunts. He was pretty much useless in that entire scene, even needing to be saved by Iron Man in the end, while dangling for his life on a cable. In The Winter Soldier, right from the start, when we see Captain America running along the Lumerian Star and dispatching goons left and right, stealthily like a covert operative, we knew that Captain America had stepped up his game. Cap now has the ability to ricochet his shield in such a way that it comes back to him automatically, as opposed to having to pick it up after he throws it. Now that immediately makes him 10 times cooler. The shield now has as much offensive capability as it does defensive, and with his shield and his motorbike, Cap is able to easily dispatch a Quinjet on his own, before making his new superhero landing. He also does the most hand-to-hand combat scenes in this movie, and each fight feels visceral and realistic, which keeps the audience engaged. And if that's not all, we have one of the best Captain America moments in this film. His monologue speech at the end to the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents to stir them up to stand against the corruption of Hydra. Never before has Cap been such a badass character with his fighting skills and his ability to inspire. Number 2. Captain America's struggles humanize him. In Winter Soldier, Captain America's adjustment to the 21st century continues after the events of the Avengers. He's more up to speed now, but still has plenty to catch up on. Just look at how out of place he was in the Apple Store. Also, he struggles with something most of us do: aimlessness. He lives for the war. As Ultron sarcastically remarked in Age of Ultron, other than the weekly mission he embarks on with S.H.I.E.L.D., he has nothing much to live for. We see this when he opens up to Sam at the VA, when he confesses that he doesn't know what to do with his life now. The audience is reintroduced to a grimmer Captain America, who has started to see the world for what it is, and doesn't think in terms of black and white anymore. Now his enemies aren't as blatant and obvious as the Nazis. They operate from the shadows, hidden in plain sight. Now, in this new world, Steve isn't sure who to trust. Even his allies have ulterior motives, and he feels the need to constantly watch his back. This must feel very different from the bond and camaraderie that he had with his group of Howling Commandos, his A-team with whom he could trust with his life. We see this when Steve explores the museum dedicated to him, with a sense of loneliness as he reminisces about the good old times where things were simpler, when he could trust his team with his life, when everything was black and white and far less gray. When we see Steve deal with all these issues, we can't help but feel for his character and get emotionally invested as well. In some way, we resonate with him. We're not displaced from our own time periods, but every one of us at some point in time has felt lonely, or out of place, or just like we didn't belong. Same goes for being in situations where we doubt the trustworthiness of the people around us. These struggles humanize Steve Rogers and makes him such a great character that the audience wants to root for him. Number 3. The Winter Soldier is a great villain. Comic book films share a common problem, and that's a lack of good villains. The villains are either cartoonishly evil or just embarrassing to watch. Sometimes the villains are just mirror copies of the main character, but evil. like Ant-Man and Yellowjacket, or Iron Man and Ironmonger, or Hulk and Abomination. The Winter Soldier can easily be argued to be a mirror version of Captain America. After all, he's also an enhanced soldier transported from the 1940s, and his metallic arm, which he wields like a sledgehammer, parallels Captain America's shield. The reverberating sound it makes when it clashes with Steve's shield was just, music to the audience's ears. But what makes the Winter Soldier special, despite being a mirror villain, is his emotional connection to Steve Rogers. The Winter Soldier, as we all know, is Steve's childhood friend, Bucky Barnes, a friend closer than a brother. The character played by Luke Skywalker, returning with the title of the villain. He was captured and brainwashed by Hydra to the point where he was their puppet. He didn't have any clue of who he was and blindly followed orders no matter how violent or brutal they were. Steve has always felt guilty over the loss of Bucky. In Captain America: The First Avenger, when Bucky appears to die on the mission to extract Zola, we see Steve blaming himself for his death when he tries unsuccessfully to get drunk. Now when he realizes what Bucky's become, the guilt is multiplied tenfold. But more than that, the significance that Bucky carries is that he's one of Steve's only two connections to the past, with the other being an aged Peggy Carter, and he feels indebted to him for all the times Bucky stood by him in the tough times, as we see in a flashback. That adds a layer of complexity, as Bucky now becomes a villain who Steve wants to save, not just stop. Eventually, the two end up in a showdown, with Steve not being able to bring himself to hurt Bucky once his mission of disabling the helicarrier was achieved. With the larger threat neutralized, he allows Bucky to vent his anger, raining down blows on him, all the while hoping Bucky would regain some memory of his former life. Each encounter he has with Steve in the film is something to behold, and we'll talk more about the action later, but it all feels personal. Bucky doesn't hesitate when he's trying to get rid of any obstacle in his way, and in this case, it's his childhood friend. There are a lot of mixed feelings the audience will get during their encounters because of their connection to Bucky. This is a visual and emotional feat because Captain America is going through the same things as the audience, while he's trying to break through to his friend. Number 4. The Hydra plot twist. Now maybe this is because I'm not that familiar with the Winter Soldier comic storyline, but this one took me completely by surprise. S.H.I.E.L.D. has always played a pivotal role in the Marvel Universe with Nick Fury at the helm. In one of the best plot twists in MCU history, Steve finds out that despite defeating the Red Skull and sacrificing himself in World War II, Hydra has not only survived, but has actually taken over S.H.I.E.L.D. from within. The scene in the military base, in which Armin Zola's program was revealed, was brilliantly shot to give the aura of mystery, like something out of a horror movie. I always thought S.H.I.E.L.D. would continue to take on a bigger role in future Avengers movies, serving as a hub of sorts for new heroes to enter. Having Captain America destroy S.H.I.E.L.D. was a ballsy move for Marvel, and it completely subverted our expectations. One twist that didn't work, however, was the supposed death of Nick Fury. Sure, we saw the body lying on a slab, but we were pretty sure that Marvel wouldn't kill off such a central character so early. It was just about as shocking as Commissioner Gordon's death in The Dark Knight. And also, the trailers kinda spoiled it, since they showed a battered Nick Fury utter the line, "Sounds like you're the one giving the orders now, Cap," in a scene we hadn't seen before. Number 5, the action is top notch! One of the reasons the Winter Soldier stands out is because the characters involved aren't exactly superheroes. Sure, they have certain abilities and enhanced bodies, but none of them have superpowers. This meant that the directors had to make more practical fight sequences and rely more on hand-to-hand combat. The filmmakers did an excellent job in creating tense action scenes that kept audiences on the edge of their seat. In the most memorable fight in the film, Captain America has to take out multiple Hydra operatives in an elevator, and it's extremely satisfying to watch. A close space like that pushes the creativity of a stunt coordinator, and every take has to be perfectly planned so it doesn't feel fake. Steve being completely surrounded by Hydra agents in the lift was a similar situation that Nick Fury found himself in earlier in the vehicle ambush, both symbolic of the fact that Hydra has completely engulfed S.H.I.E.L.D. and can strike when you least expect it. During the fight, Captain America pretty much pins them against each other and has a one-on-one encounter with Crossbones, who he defeats as well, and that iconic line Steve says with such class before the fight, in which he asks if anyone wants to get out before they get started. What a true gentleman! In their mid-film battle on the street, both Cap and Winter Soldier, being unaware of their identities, come at each other with everything they have. The audience can hear the impact of each punch as it collides with empty vehicles, glass, and the ground itself. Winter Soldier's metallic arm whirs like Iron Man's limbs when he needs to apply pressure, giving it a mechanical feel and enhances the effect of its utility. The final fight showdown between Cap and Bucky goes all out. There's a more raw intensity added to the fights because of their relation to each other, and we can't help but feel bad for them as they break each other down. While we need to see Bucky stopped, at the same time, we want Steve to save him from Hydra's clutches as well. Other characters, including Black Widow and Falcon, get into fights throughout the movie as well, but those aren't as intense as this one. The final sequence of the film ventures into the usual MCU tropes, but there is still a lot to chew on for viewers looking for some decent action. The individual fight scenes are still the best part of the film, and the MCU hasn't exactly been able to top them, apart from a few sequences in the later films. Well, these are just some of the reasons The Winter Soldier was so well received from both fans and critics. It shares a very personal story for Captain America and his adjustment to the new world. It features the return of his childhood friend, who's been brainwashed into becoming a killer, which adds a pleasant layer of complexity. It has tons of raw action with excellent stunt choreography that hasn't been replicated much in future MCU films as of yet. It puts our hero in a difficult decision where he has to fight against the person he's trying to save. The film has also aged well, with its theme of perpetual and universal surveillance from the Insight helicarriers still being relevant today with our ever-increasing privacy concerns. The Winter Soldier managed to be a serious film, a political thriller about real-life themes, without being depressing. There is still some levity in various scenes, and character interactions are intimate and sincere. It is one of the best MCU films and continues to leave a lasting legacy. So what did you think? Which is your favorite Captain America movie? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out our other videos too. Bye!